Hello! Welcome back to my channel. Today, we are visiting the Spring Court together. Full spoilers ahead. I have read the first novel, haven't finished the second, still in the middle of them, but today we are parking ourselves in the first act of A Court of Thorns and Roses as defectors. I don't know if I'm using that word correctly, but I was kind of thinking about that first chunk of book one where Feyre sneaks into the Calanmai, forgive me if I say that wrong, festival type holiday. And it's our first exposure to like the larger scope of the fairy world. And the poor girl is just so in the dark about everything. And there's this like scapegoat explanation for that of like, oh, well, they literally can't tell her anything. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like they could do better because I am personally reflecting on her journey and what it means to be in a male-centered environment. And that's not to like make it this blanket statement that she's centering Tamlin. I feel like she's kind of boiled to the point where she has to, for sure. And in her own, I guess, goodness or sacrificial nature, she just picks this man up at every freaking turn. So, with that being said, yes, it's Calanmai. Tamlin is super annoying. There's a glimmer on everything. Feyre is expected to assimilate to the world of the Spring Court. And I guess on a lighter note, I was kind of just thinking about the colors that would be involved with that. So I was thinking like golds, earth tones, greens, kind of like a really, really bright, almost like fluorescent blush. So those are the colors that were kind of playing in my head. Anyway, but getting back to like my little commentary on this part of the novel, I think the look I'm going for, or the overall feeling that I'm having as I did this makeup, is just one of, I'd say like scrutiny or maybe independence that I want for Feyre. I am so frustrated, I guess. Like, yes, it's filtered through the scope or the guise of fantasy, so we can kind of remove ourselves from it quite easily when we read a story like this. But I think more critically, the removal of her autonomy or like the surroundings that she's in without agency to change them or move them or influence them is quite a frustrating prospect. And it's one that I actually relate to very well. So, I guess I'm just thinking about like how, in some ways, realistic this novel is, at least when we abstract the themes from it, or like the parallels? Yeah, maybe the parallels. The gold on the eyes, I was just thinking of the glimmer that's put on her. I don't know if I already mentioned that, but yeah, even that is something that's kind of frustrating. I always say it in this way when I'm talking to people in real life, that some people will manage your perception of them so heavily that it's like lying in a way. So even if the intention behind it is a good thing, if you're managing someone's perception of you so heavily that they're not actually seeing the truth of you, that's, I guess if you had to like relate it to the novel, that's like putting a glimmer on someone. Like, that's so frustrating. I don't even know if I'm using the right word. It's been a while since I read this book. But yeah, so poor Feyre. I feel like just in this part of the novel, she's really, I just couldn't imagine being dumped into this setting by yourself and having to navigate it. Like, what else would you do other than, assimilate out of necessity for survival. So I feel like that is actually quite a complicated picture that this novel paints, and I appreciate it for doing that. I really hope that people think about it critically instead of, reading it, I guess like for escapism. Heather, that's a nod to you. My twin has been talking about that a lot this year. And speaking of critical thinking, I watched a video essay yesterday about decentering men, and I'll link the video down below. It was kind of like a commentary on pop culture and how we can in some ways center men by hating them, I guess, if that makes sense. And I just think that there is this really beautiful, healthy conversation to be had when we are celebrating women, when we are constructively speaking towards who we admire as far as women go, and which voices we can uplift, which people we can call praised before each other. Like, I think that is such a good call to action, and kind of what I want to shift this video into now, I guess. So yes, we are inspired by this very frustrating part of the novel for me, but I do want to focus on Feyre's navigation of it. I think that, all things considered, there's such a sacrificial quality to her heart that I think is such a beautiful thing. She's so human, which I really appreciate. I think that she exhibits the duality of being sacrificial and being selfish, or I guess in other words, very, very human, having a very human response to things without filtering it for the digestion of other people. I think that's such a beautiful thing. And it was making me think about other women that I admire. Jane Eyre is my favorite book ever. I love her navigation of the world. I love that she champions herself. And I wanted to leave this video off by asking, who do you celebrate as a woman? There's so many people in my personal life that I celebrate. But if you want to share anything, let's talk about women, you guys. And I might post the more unhinged look from ACOTAR if you want. Let me know. But other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.